Hi, welcome to the Climate Change and Biodiversity podcast. I'm your host, Zoe, and throughout the series, I'll be talking to some of my peers about the effects of climate change on biodiversity and, in turn, the influences on our health. The purpose of this podcast is to increase the awareness and understanding of climate change and its impacts. Today, I'll be sitting down with Anshia, and we're going to talk a little bit about water security and water availability. Hi, Anshia, welcome.
Hey Zoe.
So, I thought we could start by talking a little bit about what is water security for those who didn't know.
Yeah, so water security can be defined as the ability of a population to manage and sustain good water quality for the use of the population in relation to factors that can influence water availability, such as climate change, to preserve the ecosystem and political stability. Some key terms that we'll be going through in today's podcast is water security, water availability, water scarcity, and water stress.
All right, so what affects water availability?
So the factors that greatly affect water availability can be contributed to the weather. Fresh water is sourced from rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, and it is the key for survival of humans and the general ecosystem. Climate change is negatively impacting the water cycle and the surface water availability through increase in global temperatures that affect rainfall patterns, variability in water movement, increased evaporation, and an increase in likelihood of extreme weather events, which affects the scarcity of water by affecting water levels as well as the quality in water supplies by contamination from runoffs and sedimentation. Such as the recent droughts and bushfires in Australia last summer, it has a very big impact on water availability, in addition to the already decline in water over the years, where the water levels stored by the states have been steadily declining in the last 6 years. They are now collecting 54.6 of the capacity, a decline of 30% from 2013.
Wow, so that's quite a big drop. You mentioned water stress before. Is that something which has contributed to this as well?
So water stress is an issue currently faced by all countries. With high water demands, higher than the amount of water available. By 2030, it is estimated that 700 million of the world population would experience severe water scarcity. So currently, the global water demand is estimated to be about 460 billion liters of water per year. It is expected to grow by 30% in 2050.
And so, how is water stress different to water scarcity?
Well, water scarcity is the inadequate amount of available clean water in relation to demand. It has been an ongoing issue worldwide with depleting freshwater sources and lack of access to fresh water. There is an estimate of 800 million people who do not have access to drinking water and 2.2 billion people that do not have safe access to clean water. The numbers are expected to increase to half of the world's population to be affected by water scarcity by 2030, with 1 in 4 children predicted to be living under extreme water stress by 2040.
Okay, so obviously, we want to prevent that from happening as much as we can. Did you have any suggestions for what we can do individually to address water security, perhaps?
So I hope through this podcast, we are able to raise awareness of this issue. Compared to other parts of the world, it might not be as visible, but it is a current issue that is occurring and the impacts are immense. It can also influence other factors such as health and socioeconomics, with correlations with waterborne disease, hygiene, and food security.
Right. So even just us engaging in this conversation is contributing because we're making it more known, bringing up talking points that may not be known to other people. And that in
Yep,
itself is helping. Is that right?
yep, that's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed our discussion today. As always, feel free to listen and engage with our other episodes. For more information and access to other events or resources, you can visit the Global Climate Change Week website at www.globalclimatechangeweek.net Or feel free to follow Global Climate Change Week on Twitter at GCC Week.